Hey guys, it's me again. It's Brianna. Um, it's been a long time. I know. I know. I know. Don't even tell me. So, as you can see, I'm no longer pregnant and I'm holding a baby. This is my baby. This is half of my heart. I have another one. Daddy's holding her in the living room. If you didn't know, I had twins. I had a boy and a girl. Hold on. I had a boy and a girl, and yeah, they're amazing. But I'm here to tell you guys about my labor and delivery story. Finally, I have tried to get this video up pretty much all day, but my phone has not had any space on it. So I've been dealing with technical issues. But now I'm just going to hop into it. So the last time I spoke to you guys, I was about 34 to 35 weeks pregnant. Let's move forward. So 36 weeks and 3 days. I went to my doctor's appointment, regular routine checkup, and basically he checked their heartbeats with the Doppler, um, and he did check me for dilation. At that point, I was not dilated, none. Um, but he did say that he did not expect me to make it through the weekend because their heads were so far down, and both of their heads were down, and they were so low. But I had been hearing this story since I was 16 weeks. Um, every every doctor that I had been to would say that both heads were very low and they were both down. So I didn't really pay it any attention. Um, so fast forward, that was on a Tuesday. So Wednesday goes by, nothing. Thursday and Friday goes by, nothing. Saturday, Sunday rolls by, absolutely nothing. No inkling of, you know, labor about to start, no signs, no contractions, no nothing. Monday rolls around and it's a typical Monday morning. You know, I'm about to get ready for work, or I am getting ready for work at this time. And, you know, I'm up washing my face, brushing my teeth, putting on my clothes, doing my hair, leave, go and get my typical breakfast from McDonald's, which was oatmeal and I believe a yogurt parfait. Head on to work. At this point, I am still working because I didn't have any complications throughout my pregnancy. My doctor didn't feel like it was necessary to put me on bed rest or anything. So I'm still working, and I'm working up until I give birth. So I'm headed to work. I get to work. I sit down at my desk. You know, I'm about to eat my breakfast and everything. The next thing I know is I feel this gush, and it almost felt like I peed on myself. So I run to the restroom. Luckily, the restroom is not that far away from my seat. And I get to the restroom, pull my panties down, and just this gush of water. I mean, it's just flowing. And of course, it's not just water, it's water, mucus, blood, the whole nine, right? And it's just like pouring out of me nonstop, nonstop. And of course, there's no one in the restroom. Go figure. There's always somebody in the restroom. Oh, not that morning. So, you know, I'm in the restroom. I'm like, what the heck do I do? Like, my water just broke. It was very surreal for me. My water just broke. You know, I'm not, my mind is like, my water is not supposed to break. Like, I'm supposed to be induced on Memorial Day. Now, if you didn't know, my original due date was June 8th. That would be 40 weeks pregnant. But because my healthcare providers does not go to 40 weeks with twins, they go to 38 weeks instead. That put me right at Memorial Day exactly. So so I was supposed to be induced on Memorial Day, and so I'm definitely not prepared for this. I don't have any pads. I don't have nothing. So, you know, I ball up a whole bunch of tissue, put it in my panties, and get out of the bathroom. The next thing I see, or the next person I see coming out of the restroom, is a good friend of mine, a co-worker. And I look at her, she looks at me, and I'm like, my water just broke. And she looks horrified, like she's seen a ghost or something. And she runs to my desk with me. I'm about to pack up. I got my keys in my hand, everything. I'm about to drive myself to the hospital. I don't know how the whole floor, mind you, it's about 75 to 100 people on my floor that works with me. It felt like all eyes were on me and they knew exactly what was going on. And my manager runs down and she's like, oh no, you can't drive yourself because if something happens to you, then we're liable. And so we have to call 911. They called the ambulance. And at that point, I called my fiance and I let him know what was going on. He told me that I was super calm at this point, right? He said that I said, where are you? And he was like, he was on the other side of town, basically. He was going to work. He was like one exit away from work. And I was just like, oh, well, my water just broke. He's like, what? Your water just did what? Like, he turned around and was headed to the hospital. Because I had told him that, my manager would not allow me to drive myself. Like, they were, calling the ambulance. They were on their way and everything. So at that point, the ambulance took 30 minutes to get to my job. And, they get there, they put me on the gurney. I'm like waving at everybody at work and everything. It was so embarrassing, y'all. It was so embarrassing. But so I get on the ambulance and they're taking my vitals and everything. She's asking me, "Are you having contractions?" I'm like, "No," because at that point I wasn't. And we get into traffic. It is traffic. It is Monday morning. It's about 8:30 at this point. And it takes us literally 30 minutes to get to the hospital. But prior to being in the ambulance, and I want to say about 15 minutes later is when I felt my first contraction. And it felt like menstrual cramps. It wasn't that bad, but they started to become more frequent, and they progressed with its intensity. Oh my gosh. So they were coming about every 7 to 10 minutes at that point in the ambulance. And once we got to the hospital, they picked up like that. Once I got to the hospital, I changed into the gown and everything, laid on the bed, and man, when I tell you nothing can prepare you for real contractions, Braxton Hicks is a far cry from real life contractions. I can't even explain how they felt. It it felt like it was going to rip me apart. It was pretty bad. And every single time I would have a contraction, I would be holding my fiance's hand really, really tight. And at one point, he felt like I was going to break his hand. Because I needed to channel that pain somehow, some way. I don't know how people do it naturally. I really don't. My hats goes out to you, because I could not imagine doing that. And I think I was about 4 hours in. So it was about 12 or 1 o'clock by the time my doctor came in and asked me did I want an epidural. I don't know how many centimeters I was at that point. I want to say maybe 2 or 3. And the reason why they came to me so early is because she was telling me with twins, it's almost like you're giving birth twice. So that means twice the pain. So I hurried up and took that epidural. Sure did. Sure did. Once I got the epidural, I felt nothing. I was laughing, happy go lucky. My mom was in there. She actually beat us to the hospital. So did my fiance. My brother was there. I was in good spirits. Of course, I was like shaking from the epidural. I guess that was the side effects. And But yeah, it was pretty much a waiting game after I got my epidural, trying to get to those 10 centimeters. So I want to say around 8 is when they kept, they put the monitor on your belly and everything. In my case, they put 2 monitors on my belly to try to, get both heartbeats and everything. And they had a hard time finding um, baby, was it baby B? They had a hard time finding baby B's heart rate or heartbeat. And the heartbeat was like declining. It was, yeah. And I started getting scared. I believe I remember just crying. I felt like I was overwhelmed at the fact that I was about to become a mother, overwhelmed with the fact that I just wanted my babies to be okay. Um, yeah, so that was around 8 p.m. What else? So after that, I felt pressure. That was around 8:30 is when I started feeling pressure down there to where you feel like you need to have a bowel movement. And so the nurses are all coming in, and there's a team for one baby over here, a team for the other baby over here, and it's just a lot going on in the room. So I push about, it wasn't long. I didn't push for very long before baby A came out, and he came out. This is baby A. His name is Cameron, and he came out at 8:48 p.m. And after that, I was like boo-hooing. They put him on my chest, and he was crying, and he looked at me. He just stopped crying, and they took him away and cleaned him up. And now it's time for baby B to come. So I didn't have another contraction until like 21 minutes later, because I don't know what was going on. I felt like I would never have a contraction. It was the longest 21 minutes of my life. There was just like, push when you have another contraction. I'm like waiting for the contractions to start already, and nothing is happening. But at 9:09, baby B decided to come on out to the world and present herself. Um, and I don't remember pushing for very long with her either. But yeah, 9:09, I had her. Her name is Aria, and she was 5 pounds 4 ounces, and he was 5 pounds 8 ounces. So they were little, but really really good for twins. Anyways, they didn't have to be in the NICU or anything, so that was a blessing. So what else? So yeah, after that, they cleaned me up. I didn't tear. I didn't have an episiotomy. I was fine. Thank God I didn't tear. But the nurses and everyone were so surprised that I didn't tear with twins. And yeah, I didn't. So I stayed in the hospital for 3 days. I went in on Monday, left on Wednesday. Both babies were healthy enough to go home with me. Thank you, God, because that was one of the fears that I had was, me having to leave without them because they had to be in the NICU or something. But that didn't happen. We came home with both our babies in good health. And so that was Wednesday. Thursday, Friday goes by, and I have this pain in my neck. I don't know where it's coming from. I'm basically chalking it up to being a side effect from the epidural. I noticed that when I lay down flat, my neck and my shoulders are hurting. And I kind of chalk that up to being like I'm not getting any rest. I'm not getting the best sleep because we have 2 little ones that are up mostly at night. And I want to say on Saturday, all hell breaks loose. It was around 7 p.m. after visitors had left, and I was washing dishes and I get this pain in my neck. Like before, I would just pop an Advil or whatever and it be gone. But I took an Advil and it was not letting up at all. So after washing dishes, I didn't even finish washing dishes actually. I just went to the room and I felt like I needed to lay down. Thankfully, my mom and my brother and my fiance were here to watch the babies for me for a minute. So I went into the bedroom and I laid down, thinking, maybe that'll help. I laid down and it was just so much pain in my neck and my shoulders and my upper back. Oh, and the back of my head was pounding. And I couldn't do anything but cry. Like I was literally laying down on the bed crying. And my fiance came in to check on me and he was like, "You okay?" And I was like, "No, something is not right." And so basically he rushed me to the emergency room and I found out that I had postpartum preeclampsia. Now, preeclampsia is high blood pressure, and you usually get that during your pregnancy. But in my case, I got it after I gave birth. And my blood pressure was skyrocketed to the point where they had to admit me. And I had to be I was at the hospital from Saturday to Wednesday. Or was it Tuesday? Saturday to Tuesday, I believe. Yeah. Um, and that was so hard for me. It was so hard because I not only had to leave my babies, but I had to be in the hospital, you know what I mean, for high blood pressure. Um, yeah, that was very hard for me. I felt like I needed to be home. I needed to help my fiance take care of these babies because my mom luckily was here and she spent the night with them on that Saturday night when I first went into the hospital. But my fiance had to take care of them from Sunday to Tuesday, and he was here by himself with two newborns. And he did a phenomenal job, and I cannot be more proud of him, honestly. But it was the hardest thing. I was mad at myself for getting sick. My emotions were just everywhere, y'all. But thankfully, Tuesday, I was able to come home and I was put on medication, high blood pressure medication, and yeah, that was it. I mean, I still had a little bit of pain when I came home and everything, but I was just so grateful to be home with my babies, honestly. Um, and it's been a few weeks. I feel so much better. I don't have any pain in the back of my head or my neck or anything. It's almost like I never had any type of issues. But yeah, I feel back to myself. So grateful for that. Today marks the 1 month. They're 1 month old today. Can't believe time has just flown by like that. And I'm back down to my pre-pregnancy weight. Of course, I have a little bit of a pooch, but I'm definitely looking forward to working out and getting that down as flat as I possibly can. But yeah, I think that's it. I don't want this video to be too long. I already feel like it's long enough. But yeah, both babies are doing really, really well. I think I'm gonna do a 1 month update for them in a separate video, as well as my 1 month postpartum update. But yeah, I think that's it. I am going to let you guys go. And I thank you so much for watching. Thank you for clicking on this video. And I look forward to seeing you guys in my next one. Okay, bye.